Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Don't you love icebreaker activities at parties or other gatherings? You can learn things about even some of your friends that you thought you knew well. One question we had in a group was, what is something that brings you joy? Of course, my answer was curling up in my favorite chair with a cup of hot chocolate to work on my podcast. But the answer one of my friends gave was being where I can see a body of water, any kind of water, lake, ocean, whatever. And I got to thinking, that's me too. Just being where I can hear or see water calms me, puts me in a different mood, whether it's a creek or a waterfall, a fountain, or a beach. I've never lived where I could see one of these, but I tend to seek out trails near a creek or a fountain downtown. And then when we vacationed in Oregon, I couldn't get enough of the waves pounding against the rocks or the tide pools at low tide. And even though I about froze my little toes off, I couldn't help but take my shoes off and allow my toes to experience the Pacific Ocean for the first time. Later, I heard someone equate God's Word to a trip to the ocean. Whether you just look and listen, pick up shells, stick your toes in, go swimming in the waves, or get scuba gear and go diving, God's Word is accessible, approachable, and simple, yet so profound that we can never completely plumb its depths. We can listen to God's Word during a sermon on the radio or with an online preacher. We can see God's Word lived out in the actions and speech of His children, just as we can be God's Word before others. At the beach, I love to walk along and pick up shells. That's like reading devotionals or listening to this podcast, finding little treasures to tuck away somewhere. As Psalm 119:11 says, "Your word have I hid in my heart, that I may not sin against you." Those shells and other interesting things we can take out later, look at, admire, and meditate on those verses. As Psalm 119:97 says, "Oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all the day." Of course, if you're like me, you can't resist dipping your toes in. Start following what you hear and read. As Psalm 119:133 says, "Direct my steps by your word, and let no iniquity have dominion over me." Then we need to plunge right in. At the beach, I hesitate to go under completely. There's so many unknowns. There's rocks and waves and, well, you never know about sharks. It takes faith to fully obey God's word and actually commit to it. So we may say with the psalmist, "Hold me up and I shall be safe, and I shall observe your statutes continually. I do your commandments, my soul keeps your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I keep your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you." Then there's scuba diving. I've always wanted to try that. But we can with the Bible. We can wholeheartedly immerse ourselves in God's Word and fully follow Him in everything we do. As Psalm 119:2 tells us, "Blessed are those who keep His testimonies, who seek Him with their whole heart." Have you ever been scuba diving in God's Word? Have you been wholeheartedly seeking Him? What's your experience on the beach been like so far?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.